So, Billie Eilish has a new hit. It's called Your Power. The intro and the hook of the song is played by two guitars in the studio recording. I've taken both parts and put it to one acoustic. I've got a free tab, so I'm going to show you the demo first, and then I will show you how I play it in a lesson. So, let's start with the demo. Alright, so it's your turn to play it now. To start, we need a capo on fret 5, okay, fret 5. And to start measure 1, I'm going to be using a C major chord. Thumb is over the top, and I will be using my pinky on the skinny E string fret 3. If I include that pinky finger note on fret 3, that's still a C chord. We're just hearing the 5th of the chord in the pinky instead of the open string, which is the 3rd. Okay, so measure 1, I start with a bass note on string 5. And then there you're hearing my index and my thumb together playing the middle two strings while I'm hammering on from open to 2 of the D string. Okay, then we're going to separate the two middle strings like this. Index, thumb, okay, that's open and 2. And then you just heard my pinky note there. Fret 3 of the skinny E string. And I'm coming back to the bass, and then here, sounds very dissonant if we take it kind of in a vacuum, but not to worry, once we lend context to it, your ear will go, oh yes, that's definitely the melody note that we need to hear. So, there, the last note you heard was the melody note, the open B string. Pinky, bass, index, open B string. I am turning my wrist and hand a little bit to grab that note on 2 of E. Right there. And then there's the open B string. To end measure 1, this is part of a C chord, right? Middle on D2, index on B1, and I'm using my thumb, index, and middle finger here to play all 3 strings together, and then my middle finger to play the open B. Okay, and that's just as we transition into measure 2. So here's measure 1 put together. There's the bass note to start measure 2. Measure 2 has the E minor chord in it, and we're playing bass strings 6 and 4 to start it. And then I'm going to guide my hand with the thumb and slide index up to B3, and then we're going to hear D4 from the middle, and those two notes are going to ring together. Okay? Bass note 1, bass note 2, the slide, 2 notes played together, and then I'm playing the middle 2 strings with thumb and index. That's just D2 and the open G. And then there's a bit of a walk up to end measure 2, where I walk up with the middle, then the ring, so that I can set up my C chord again to begin measure 3. You'll notice measure 3 is identical to measure 1. So I'm going to play you measures 1 through 3 slowed. There's my walk up, back into the C chord. then we get to what's loosely based around a B minor 7 chord, and this has a bit of alternating bass movement in it. So if you haven't gotten into a lot of Travis picking and fingerstyle with alternate bass, you get a little bit of practice here. So measure 4 has 2 bass notes to start out of the E minor chord, and then I'm going to place my middle finger on A2, my ring finger on G2, and we're going to play this. You'll notice I shifted my bass note to the low E string, fret 2. Okay, so I'm starting on the B note, and then I've got the bass movement there. Okay, measure 4 is the same as measures 1 and 3. Slide again, same as measure 2. Walk up, and then we get into the last 2 measures. So this is a little bit different. So I'm going to show you what I'm doing from a fingering standpoint. So we've got start of measure 7 based on the C chord. Okay, and then here, once I go to that part, I'm going to swap my fingers around. So I'm actually going to play, I got my C to start, and then I'm going to rotate them so I've got my index on D2 and my ring finger on G2. So that I can pivot on the last measure and get my index finger on measure 2 of A. There's the change. You'll notice that high melody note, that's the last melody note you hear in the hook, but since we can't place it low, on the lower strings, I should say, without it sounding too muddy, I placed it high. That's the world of arranging music for guitar, I guess, is that sometimes you'll need to move the capo somewhere else, you'll need to shift yourself to a different key just to accommodate 1 or 2 notes in a melody, and it kind of drives you crazy sometimes. But in this case, I've placed that melody note on the high E, so it's actually an octave above where it would be otherwise. Okay, so putting it all together, I'm going to play slow here for you, and we're going to get all 8 measures in. So starting with measure 1. Alright, so there it is. Guys, if you enjoyed this video and you enjoyed the free tab, please give this video a like and check me out on Patreon. I've got lots of arrangements like this for all sorts of different artists. And hey, I'm open to requests too. So as always, thanks for tuning in, and I will see you very soon.